Forget willpower. The human brain is hardwired to desire things that are scarce. It is a primal instinct, and marketers use it to devastating effect on bank accounts. If a splurge has ever occurred simply because an item was available for a limited time only, then the hidden psychological switch that makes scarcity so incredibly powerful is about to be revealed, along with the methods to finally break free from its grip. Consider the sudden pang of needing something right now upon seeing a limited stock notice. That is the scarcity principle at play, a psychological superpower wielded by marketers. Seeing something as scarce, whether it is a new tech gadget, a sneaker drop, or a flash sale, lights up a very specific part of the brain. This phenomenon is not about actual value, it is about perceived value. A ticking clock or a sold-out sign can cause rational spending to be thrown out the window. The human brain is wired for survival. Historically, scarcity meant either danger or a rare opportunity. That ancient wiring still triggers a sense of panic when something valuable appears to be slipping away. The fear of missing out is not just a social media trend. It is a deep-seated driver that companies exploit by creating artificial bottlenecks. Cognitive biases, such as anchoring and loss aversion, become supercharged when scarcity enters the equation. This combination makes individuals value things more simply because they are rare. From one-day-only sales to collectible items with artificially low production numbers, brands are masters at manufacturing scarcity. Real-world examples are everywhere. The frenzy surrounding sneaker releases, the luxury brand strategy of exclusive drops, and even how subscription models use limited tiers. Online retailers use inventory counters and countdown timers to turn a shopping cart into a psychological pressure cooker. When scarcity kicks in, rational cost-benefit analysis often disappears. People spend more, buy things they do not need, and often experience regret later. The specific financial consequences of falling for scarcity tactics range from increased credit card debt to the erosion of long-term financial goals. Discretionary spending can escalate rapidly when driven by the act now impulse instead of genuine need or smart budgeting. The good news is that once the tricks are understood, it is possible to become immunized. Practical strategies exist to resist the urgency illusion. This includes simple mental checks, such as asking if an item is truly needed or if it is only desired because it is limited. Another effective check is considering whether the item would be purchased if it were available at any time. Setting financial boundaries, implementing waiting periods for big purchases, and focusing on long-term value over fleeting trends empowers individuals to make smarter, more conscious spending decisions. The scarcity principle operates on the fundamental economic theory of supply and demand, but it applies it to human psychology in a way that bypasses logic. When supply is perceived to be low, the brain automatically assumes that demand must be high, and therefore the value must be superior. Marketers do not need to prove that a product is better. They only need to prove that it is harder to get. This shift in focus from the quality of the product to the availability of the product is the core of the scarcity trap. In a state of perceived scarcity, the brain enters a high arousal state. This state is characterized by narrowed focus and increased urgency. The prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for complex planning and decision-making, becomes less active, while the more primitive parts of the brain take over. This is why it feels so difficult to walk away from a limited time offer. The brain is literally signaling that a vital resource is about to be lost. Loss aversion plays a critical role here. Psychology suggests that the pain of losing something is twice as powerful as the joy of gaining something. When an item is limited, the primary focus is not on what is gained by buying it, but on what is lost by not buying it. Marketers frame the choice as a final opportunity, making the potential loss feel imminent and permanent. This framing forces a decision before the consumer has time to evaluate the actual utility of the purchase. Anchoring also intensifies this effect. When a product is labeled as limited edition, the perceived value is anchored to its rarity rather than its function. A person might not pay $500 for a standard pair of shoes, But if those shoes are one of only 500 pairs ever made, the $500 price tag suddenly seems reasonable, or even like a bargain. The rarity becomes the primary feature, overshadowing the materials, craftsmanship, or comfort of the product itself. The digital landscape has amplified these tactics to an unprecedented scale. Algorithms can now track browsing history and deliver personalized scarcity triggers in real time. Seeing a notification that 3 other people are looking at this hotel room right now, or that only 2 items are left in stock, is a deliberate attempt to trigger the scarcity response. These digital nudges are designed to create a sense of competition, further increasing the perceived value of the item. Social proof often works in tandem with scarcity. When a product is scarce, it implies that many other people want it. This validates the desire for the item and creates a sense of social urgency. The fear of being the only one who misses out on a trend or a high-status item is a powerful motivator. Luxury brands use this to maintain an aura of exclusivity, ensuring that their products remain highly sought after by keeping the supply intentionally below the level of demand. Breaking free from this grip requires a conscious effort to re-engage the rational brain. The first step is recognizing the physical signs of the scarcity response: the increased heart rate, the feeling of urgency, and the narrowed focus. When these signs appear, it is a signal to step away from the purchase. A self-imposed cooling-off period, even for just 24 hours, can be enough to allow the high arousal state to subside and for logic to return. Another strategy is to separate the item's utility from its rarity. If the item were mass-produced and available at every store, would it still be attractive? If the answer is no, then the desire is being driven by the scarcity principle rather than a genuine need. Evaluating the purchase based on its long-term impact on financial goals rather than the short-term thrill of acquiring something rare is essential for maintaining financial health. Ultimately, the goal is to move from reactive spending to intentional spending. By understanding the psychological levers that marketers pull, consumers can regain control over their wallets and their decisions. Scarcity is a powerful tool, but it only works if the individual remains unaware of its influence. Once the illusion is exposed, the power shifts back to the consumer. Intentionality, grounded reasoning, and a clear understanding of personal values are the best defenses against the manufactured urgency of the scarcity principle.